Hello, everybody. Oops. I minimized the game. There it is. Hello, everybody. How's it going? Taryn, thank you for the raid. Sorry that I was AFK. I upset the coffee machine this morning. 10 minutes before I gotta get my butt out the door, so I'm just gonna sit here and hope Megan is here before that. Well, I don't know when that message was sent. I hope I'm here in time. If not, hopefully we'll see you after. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't get to greet you, Taryn. Hello and goodbye. I hope we see you later. I'm assuming you are going for a pickup or a drop-off. So I hope we see you later so that we can hear about what you've been up to today and how date night went, because I believe it was date night last night. But thank you, Taryn. I will get you a shout out. Fingers and toes crossed. We'll be here. We'll be here for 3 hours, so. My with first today. My, how's it going? I believe you're off today and not sneaking in from work. How was work yesterday? Here to roar and give tiny arm T-Rex hugs. Hell yeah. Maya's also on a 3-stream streak. Joe's here. Joe, how's it going? What you up to? Off today. We won't talk about work yesterday. Hey, if you don't want to talk about it, we're not gonna make you. I believe you said, I don't remember if I'm remembering correctly, but I think you said January was a bad time for your particular brand of work. I seem to remember you saying that it tends to be busy and people tend to be not at their greatest. In which case, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm sorry you have to deal with that. Astrid, hello! 4th snow day today. It keeps looking like it's gonna snow here and then it just never does. It doesn't rain either. It just gets really gray. Like, I'm looking out the window right now. It's just really gray. There's these heavy clouds in the sky. It keeps being like, yeah, it's gonna be the rainiest day, and then it just doesn't do anything. This is a record. Well, Astrid, enjoy those snow days. Man, it's gonna make me sound so old. I remember snow days when I was in high school. I remember we would go over to Flutter's house and we would put on some music and we'd curl up in blankets and we'd just do art and writing all day, and it was the best. Those were certainly days. Vailwraith, hello. How's it going? Again, sorry you have to deal with that. Hopefully people at least, you know, become better versions of themselves in the near future. It really was. I mean, we were in high school. We didn't have, you know, we didn't have mortgages. We didn't have bills to pay. So it was just a chill day, you know, curled up, listening to the tunes, talking about stories that we never actually wrote, doodling, watching the snow fall outside. Taxes. Can't wait for those. I dread taxes every year. I shouldn't, because we have a really amazing tax lady who takes great care of us. But it just, there's so much stuff to hunt down every year. It's a challenge. Only have 5 more days, then vacation. So hopefully they get the manners their parents taught them back. Did you say if you were... I can't remember. I know I asked. Did you say if you're going away for the vacation? Or if you're staying in? I feel like you told me and I've completely forgotten, so I apologize for that. Sometimes things just don't stick in my brain. I can remember everything about my imaginary worlds and everything that's going on in them. But I can barely remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. Been thinking about my characters over the break. Nice. Mostly home. I'm gonna go camping with a bunch of friends the weekend of the 31st. That sounds awesome. I'm reminding myself that it's warmer in your area than it is in ours, so probably ideal camping weather versus here. I think the high today is 2 degrees Celsius, so just above freezing. That would be like maybe 32, 35 maybe degrees Fahrenheit, with a low of -7. And no precipitation in the forecast, just overcast. Just gray. um, but yeah. Here we are. It's Thursday, January 22nd. Holy, how has this happened? I feel like I just came back to work and the month is almost over, but this is how things go. Our low is -5. You know, sorry, the cough is still around. You know, I don't mind it being just below freezing. It's not the worst temperature. It's when it starts to get to like -20, -30. That's what I don't like. Currently 64 Fahrenheit. Highs for all the people stuck in icy cold and snow. Listen, though, your summers probably suck. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but living in a desert is probably bad in the summer. Like, this is probably the good time of year for you guys. Faded Stardust, hello! On my way home from my appointment and thought I'd pop in and say hey. Faded Stardust, I hope that appointment went great. I hope we get to talk to you when you get home. They do, I hate it. We get, we live in a semi-arid environment, so for anyone who doesn't know, like, what that means off the top of their head, because they haven't lived in one, we're not quite desert. We are kind of like, we're in this weirdly temperate zone where we do have 4 seasons. We do get rain, sun, snow, you know, the whole gamut of everything. So, like, we do get 4 distinct seasons usually, although right now winter has mostly just been fall on repeat. So we do get a significant amount of rainfall and snowfall, but we are semi-arid, so we do go through a portion of the summer where it's very hot and very dry, and it can hit 40 degrees Celsius, which if you're like, what's 40 degrees Celsius? I can't conceive of that. It's fucking hot. I think it would be over 100 in Fahrenheit. It's very hot. It's very dry though, so it's a dry heat, which is better than a wet heat. So it's not like Florida in the summer. It's not like a sauna. It's hot though. I mean, you can die of heat stroke at 40 degrees when it's 40 degrees Celsius for 4 weeks. And we do sometimes go 2-3 months without a raindrop if it's a intense summer. Those are the bad summers because those are the wildfire summers. You don't want those, but it can happen. So I imagine that our like 40 degree stints, I imagine those are like low end of what is sucky about summer in an arid region, because arid is like proper desert. So I can only imagine, yeah, that's a cool summer day for you, Mai. I can only imagine how much worse your summers are. Like if we're sitting at 40 degrees C, I can only imagine what you're sitting at in Arizona. Like that has to be intense. I don't know how people do that. I had that last year. Winters are getting worse here, if that's even possible. So it goes in, it'll go in cycles, right? So we're in our mild years right now, and then it'll switch, and there'll be a couple of years of really intense. I think it was like 2.5 years ago now. Um, maybe a little bit more. We had a really bad wildfire summer here. It was just so dry. We didn't get a lot of our, we didn't get a very big snowpack, and we didn't get a lot of our spring rain. And it was a very hot, very dry summer, and there were fires all around us. And one of the fires jumped the lake, which it sounds insane to say, but one of the fires jumped the lake and started just about maybe 20 minutes up the road from us, and spread quite far. So we were actually on the edge of an evacuation zone. We never got officially evacuated. You can read about all this on my blog. We talked about it on stream at the time. But we never got formally evacuated, but we did go spend a couple of nights with our friend Admiral Dingus, who has popped into the Winds of Chaos streams a few times. Because he was on the other side of town, the safe side of town, and we didn't want to be evacuated in the middle of the night. So we voluntarily evacuated, and our friend Mr. Roboto, who's been on a couple of ghost streams, his family was evacuated. They live maybe 10 minutes walking distance down the road from us. So less than 5 minute drive. And they were evacuated because they live on a street that it only has one exit, and we live on a street that only has one exit. So if it had spread any further, we would have been evacuated pretty quickly. But that was scary, spooky, scary, felt very apocalyptic, to drive across town and just look up. It was raining ash, and you're just looking up and you're seeing this orange and red in the sky, and it was very creepy, but we got through it. We didn't lose anything, nothing was damaged, and everyone we knew was okay. There was a couple, Ghost had a couple of students that did lose their house. We did a big charity drive for disaster relief, not necessarily specifically wildfire disaster relief, but those are the bad years, and they'll come back. We'll get lulled into a false sense of security by the mild weather for 3 or 4 years, and then it'll get super intense again. And I think what happens is the East Coast gets the super intense stuff while the West Coast gets the mild stuff, and then it'll switch. So it'll get really intense out here, and then the East Coast will have mild weather again. Global climate change. If we go 2 weeks without rain, we end up in a drought. Same here. Keep you updated over the summer for S&Gs. The only way you deal with it is to say the F inside. I mean, that makes sense. Mad Lad, hello. Got off on a tangent there about wildfires. But yeah. Mostly, I just hope everyone is staying safe and warm / cool / dry / happy. / happy. So yeah, I can deal with the dreary weather. I kind of would prefer that it rain. I don't mind if it's overcast if it rains. I kind of hate it on days where it's just gray and nothing happens. There's no rain or snow. It's just gray. And we do seem to be stuck in a gray period right now. But it is what it is. The weather could be worse. I'm not gonna complain, or at least not too much. I'm doing pretty good, Mad Lad. I'm doing pretty good. This week my goal was kind of to get back into a normal routine, because I definitely did not feel like I got back to the grind last week. I didn't feel well, so I just kind of felt really sort of out of sorts and disjointed, because I couldn't really connect back with my regular routine. I'm a creature of routine. I like to feel like things are going the way they're supposed to be going and things are anticipated. So because we were on break for 3 weeks, and then because I didn't feel good last week, I've just kind of felt like normal has flown out the window. So this week has been a lot more grounded. I've been getting through my daily routine. I've been doing my yoga again, which is good because my back really needs that. And I've felt a lot more. I felt a lot more kind of grounded in normality, if that makes sense. It's funny because we were talking about snow days, and it's like when I was young, what I wanted was a disruption to the schedule, and what I wanted was to be able to spend endless hours just doing whatever and not having to worry about it. And now as an adult, I'm like, I need routine. I need normal. So we're getting there. We're getting there for sure. Today we're going to be working on Everyone's Child. As you can see, I remembered to update the overlay this morning. So you can see the final word count for the final book down there is 122,000. It's slightly longer. I always do for my side novels, which Everyone's Child is kind of a side project. So it's theoretically smaller and easier to write than my big projects like the Aravalia Chronicles. Theoretically. But I always let the last book in the series be slightly longer so that it can have sort of a post-climactic wrap-up to sort of let you know like what happens once the story is concluded. It was the same for Eternity's Empire. It got about an extra 10,000 words at the end just so that people could see what happened post-climax, where the characters ended up, sort of what the setup for the future was. So, and this was actually why I didn't get Everyone's Child finished last year, was because I had forgotten when I originally did my schedule that it would end up being 5 scenes longer. So I had to write the last 5 scenes last week at the beginning of this year's work cycle, which was interesting. I've actually, it just kind of ended up being this way because of NaNoWriMo and various other things going on in my life, but I actually wrote this particular book in 3 pieces. So my main goal during the edits is to make sure it does not read in a just disjointed fashion. I need to make sure that I didn't... Joe, how's it going? What's up, my friend? I need to make sure that it doesn't sound like I took a break in the middle, even though I did twice. So I have to go back through and make sure that everything's consistent, that I'm pulling forward everything. I do think there's one part where... Oh, sorry. Not enough coffee yet. I do think there was one point where I paused in the middle of a battle, and I am gonna need to smooth that over a little bit because I forgot some things. I'm also doing this in the most inefficient way possible, because usually what I do is I go through, when I finish writing a book, I go through and I update the outline so that the outline matches what I wrote, and then I'll usually go through later and write down what the edits are. Like, I'll go through the book a second time to decide what the edits are. But it's been so long, actually, since I wrote, like, the first half of the book that I figured, why don't I just do it all at once? Why don't I just do one pass on the outline? So we'll see. But this is not how I usually do things, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I need to lean out of frame here and blow my nose. Do you know what day it is? Thursday? It's Thursday? The 22nd of January? I don't think it's your birthday, because I'm pretty sure your birthday's in, I want to say November? Joe's gonna come back and say something like, it's the day you eat eggs, or something. It is Thursday, yeah. Is it something else, too? Is it also something else? Is there some significance to the fact that it's Thursday? I feel like I've missed something. Is it Thursday yet? I don't know if Joe... I don't know that Joe watches Critical Role. I want to go out on a limb and say I don't even know. He probably knows what it is, but I want to say he doesn't watch it. You eat eggs every day. I don't eat eggs every day. Nope, it's just Thursday. Cool. Joe, never stop being you. Do you eat eggs every day, Joe? Why am I asking? I'm gonna get... Joe's gonna answer this question and I'm gonna regret asking it. This is what always happens. It popped into my head too, Mai. I love that, I don't know if you're watching the new season, and obviously I won't spoil or anything, but I love that Brennan Lee Mulligan is new to being, like, the Critical Role GM, and so he always, like, reminds himself to say it at the end, because Matt would always say, is it Thursday yet, at the end, so the GM is supposed to say that. And he forgot a couple of times. They had to remind him. So he always reminds himself, like he gears himself up to say it at the end. It's so cute. Definitely didn't forget Stream is back this week. Hey, Sardonisms, you're here. And we're still on the opening spiel, so you're technically not late. What is a Critical Role? It is a very famous... Critical Role is a very famous D&D live play show. That runs every Thursday. They stream new episodes every Thursday. And at the end of every episode, the GM says, is it Thursday yet? I absolutely eat eggs 3 times a day. Dang. Caternator, enjoy your lurk. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate. Sardonisms, how's it going? Ghost does eat a lot of eggs when he's home, I will say. He puts eggs in his ramen. He likes to make an egg sandwich. I really usually only eat eggs, like, maybe once or twice a week. It depends on what we're having for dinner. But I don't eat eggs that often. I like eggs, but I don't eat them that often. I tried to watch it, but I kind of got thrown off by how many things went down all at once in the first episode of 4. And I have to watch it piecemeal. It's definitely worth it. I don't know if you're familiar at all with Dimension 20, but Brennan is a great GM. I absolutely love his style. It is dense. The first few episodes is very dense. I don't tend to watch them, like, hardcore watch them. I usually put them on in the background while I'm, like, doing crafting or something. But you're right, a lot does happen in the opening. Tired, but legitimately got up early, so I feel entitled to be tired. Hell yeah. I didn't get up early, and I feel tired. Guess it's not as famous as Winds of Chaos, since I've heard of that one and not Critical Role. That's very kind, Joe. I'll pass that on to Ghost Pepper. I've watched Dimension 20, but not Critical Role. They're very different. I will say they're very different. Dimension 20 is and has never made any illusions about the fact that they are an edited show. So they start off with a set number of episodes, they design the campaign to fit into that number of episodes, and they do edit out, like, if they mess up a turn or something, they edit that out to keep the pacing going. So Dimension 20 is edited, it is faster paced. And Critical Role, the philosophy is kind of that they just do everything, right? So they play out everything. They play out, there's entire shopping episodes, 4 hours of shopping, because that's just kind of their philosophy of how they do it. So it is really interesting to see Brennan's play style when it's edited and when it's not edited. But Brennan is a great GM. Kelladon, hello, how's it going? Brendan is a great GM. I kind of listen to them like a podcast too. I have the video on, but I don't glue myself to it. I just kind of have it on in the background. I don't know D20 that well, but I know Brendan Lee Mulligan from Exandria Unlimited Calamity. That was my first Brendan Lee Mulligan experience, was Calamity. And after that, I looked up Dimension 20. If you look at the Dimension 20 YouTube channel, you can watch the first 2 seasons of Fantasy High and the first season of Unsleeping City. They have those uploaded to the YouTube. They're both great. And I watched through those, and then I subscribed to Dropout, and I've never gone back. Because now not only do I watch Dimension 20, but we also watch Game Changer and Make Some Noise, and we're working our way through Actually. So we've just become completely addicted to the Dropout content. But I like Brennan. I think he's a great GM. He's an improv comedian, so I think seeing the way he approaches GMing is really interesting. Game Changer's great. I love it. I really do. We just discovered it this past year, and we ate up the archive, and we loved it. We showed it to Ghost's parents when they were here visiting, and they really liked it too. Also running into a lot of focus issues, so I can't really do anything long form. Hey, I get it. I keep my I call them my shows. I keep my D&D shows for when I'm doing something like crafting, or if I need to format a book or something, and it's just something that I kind of have on in the background. And I will fully admit that I think during combat I tend to zone out and not pay as much attention as I do to the roleplay bits. But even if you work your way through them in small bits, they're definitely worth it. Make Some Noise would be better if there wasn't a winner at the end. I agree. I liked when he switched to just giving, like, totally random comments. Like a random comment number of points, because it doesn't make any sense. I always wonder if they actually give them the ear, or if there's just one ear that they keep on his desk and give away at the end of every episode. I assume it's the latter, but I like imagining Brennan and Izzy having like a shelf of golden ears from Game Changer. We love the Noise Boys, the OG Noise Boys. Those episodes are totally off the rails and just the best. But yeah, wow, Joe's kappaing because he managed to get us off on a tangent, which he always does. That's Joe's goal in life, is to make sure that we never actually do work on stream. I will say I'm probably going to pay slightly less attention to the timer than I usually do. I'll try to make sure the breaks happen at break times, and whatnot, but I'll probably be a little bit more consistently chatty, because I will be doing something that isn't always focus intensive, because I'm going to be skimming through the manuscript and making changes and stuff, so there'll be more chances for me to look up and check. So I might be slightly more chatty, and if you feel like you need to mute me today as a result, please don't feel guilty. But I will have the timer running. As usual, we'll be doing our 30-minute sprints with 15-minute breaks in between, and you can redeem who you want to hang out with, what activity you want to do, and where you would like to do that in the down below if anybody wants to make any suggestions. We're hanging out on the Sakura Blossom Spring map at the moment. How do we feel about green eggs and ham? Would you eat them? Joe, would you eat green eggs and ham? Would you eat them with a fox? Would you eat them in a box? Would you eat them here or there? Would you eat them anywhere? Would you eat them on a train, and would you eat them in the rain? I can go all day. I can go all day. Funny story, because there is a, like, green eggs and ham day, I think, for, like, grade school kids. I remember it vaguely from when I was in middle school. And when I was in middle school for green eggs and ham day, they would actually make green eggs and ham, and they would use food dye to make the eggs green, and it was super weird. Eggs aren't supposed to be green, and when you look at eggs that are green, your brain is like, this isn't right. They tasted fine, but my brain was definitely like, you shouldn't be eating this. It's green and it's not supposed to be. Joe, have you eaten them in a box? And have you eaten them with the fox? And have you eaten them on a train? And have you eaten them in the rain? Do you like green eggs and ham? J Chili. Joe Chili Jameson. March 2nd is Green Eggs and Ham Day. For a minute, I thought you were like, it's March 2nd right now. And I was like, no, it's not. What? Yeah, I remember it from middle school. In high school, they didn't give a fuck. But in middle school, they gave us Green Eggs and Ham. And I just distinctly... Because they made scrambled eggs and then they cut them into little squares, right? And then... But they had used food dye to make them green. And there was just a part of my brain that was like, this is wrong. This is not eggs. This is wrong. So yeah, speaking of work, let's do some. From the future. Joe, does my computer keep working? My most pressing question. I won't ask about world peace. I don't think we're there. But does my computer keep working? Does it make it all the way to Green Eggs and Ham Day? Let's see. For now, I'll put myself here. And you guys can decide if there's somebody that you want to hang out with or something that you want to do, and we'll move. And otherwise, we'll stay here and we'll hang out with somebody that I pick. Hope it's not March. STR is supposed to be done by February 14th. It is not March. It is not February. Green makes all food better. I don't know if that's true, Joe. I like the whale too. I was hanging out with the whale because during certain activities he's just like the most cute. I think I'd have to move. I think I'd have to move to the fireplace. But if you do writing, he writes with his mouth. I don't know what he does if you sip. He just hangs out. I don't know what he does if you play. Oh my god! What? This is adorable! Also, this one. Joe, I don't think we have an egg creature. I think the closest I can get you to an egg... I think the closest I can get you to an egg is this boy has a skin that has an egg on the side. I think that's the best I can do. Doing alright, Keladon? Glad to hear it. Hope you have a good day. Reminds me that Pal World is going to get an official release, and we get the whale finally. Nice. Is Pal World the game that Joe was playing when he built something onto his base, and then it let him do it, but he blocked off a thing, and his little creatures couldn't get food anymore because he had created an impossible to surmount slope? Was that Pal World? Probably won't be writing today. Because I just got my new bookshelves and I need to clear out the ones that are being replaced. Hey, that is a perfectly legitimate reason. You gotta do that. You gotta organize the stuff. You probably heard it called Pokemon with Guns. Yeah, I think it is. It's, Bubble Ducky. But this is the Chicken Little skin. That's a whole meal right there. Joe, you can't eat our Bubble Ducky. It's been in early access since 2024. Damn. Yeah, I remember I tuned in to Joe's stream and he had unlocked a thing that he could build. And it was like red everywhere except one place. And he was like, he just hit confirm to build it. And he was like, it let me do it. And then after they built it, his little creatures couldn't get food anymore, and he's like, "Can they not get up the slope? I can get up this slope, and let me build it here." He just kept being like, "The game let me build here." Made a new one in a castle. Sounds like that was a good idea. Have until Sunday night to get them set up. And they can't sit in boyfriend's car for that long, so getting the office clear and ready is a priority. That sounds like a perfectly reasonable thing to spend your day on. I built a Technicolor tower because they released a patch where I could color things. Nice. Alright, I'm gonna take the usual quick, cheeky break. We do have, you can grab a activity or a location redeem if you would like. We will have Bubble Ducky for the first sprint, but if somebody wants to redeem the whale or whatever for the second sprint, second and third sprint are still up for grabs. They shouldn't have let me do it if it was going to be a problem. Well, you'd think that's how the game would work, Joe. So I do agree that it shouldn't have let you build there if it was going to break things. Bobicus! Hello! How are you? I'm gonna pop AFK and use the restroom, refresh my coffee, get into work mode despite Joe's best efforts. We'll start our first round of sprinting when I get back. And just a reminder to all you fine folks that you should also sometimes get up and move around, stretch, grab something to eat and or drink if you need to, take your meds if you need to take any meds, and check that you've done that just in case. I forgot to take mine all the time back when I was on daily medication. And yeah, don't stay sitting on your foot for too long. Stretch those arms, stretch those fingies. And we'll be right back. Joe's gonna eat an egg. Joe has already eaten 4 eggs today. That's a lot of eggs, Joe. Was that all one meal? Or was that 2 meals? What am I talking about? Joe doesn't wake... Joe is, like, on my time. He's probably only had 1 meal so far today. Shadowbug! No worries. We're just about to get started on work. I was looking for a radio antenna wire diagrams for the B-24 Liberator Middle Earth model that I built. Turns out the model I have is the B-24A Liberator, which doesn't have the wire antenna. Oh no! So I decided I would look for the wire diagram for the B-29 Super Fortress instead. Found a Facebook post that had everything I needed. Heck yeah! Well, I'm glad that there was some success involved. I had 1 egg and a breakfast sandwich today. I will be having tomato soup and grilled cheese for lunch. Ooh, both of those things sound delicious. I just had frosted mini wheats for breakfast. I'm not a big breakfast person. I shouldn't say that. I do like a big breakfast, and I do like breakfast foods, but I tend on weekdays to just eat a quick breakfast and get it in me, and then get, you know, when I do a big breakfast, it's like on the weekend when I can get a big breakfast together and actually take my time with it. We're having chicken stew over rice for dinner today. Oh, Veilwraith, that sounds freaking amazing. After I found that, I went and punched the holes I needed in the right spot so I can thread the string through them before I build it. Nice! I only eat breakfast on my days off. Yeah. Yeah. Same. Alright, I think I'll change the lighting again slightly. Since we're hanging out over by the fireplace, so you guys can see the pretty pink sakura trees. And we'll just hang out here in game with our little bubble ducky. Joe can see his egg. And I think we're good to go. There'll be a medium amount of clicky clacks today. For those of you who are here for the keyboard ASMR, there'll be maybe a medium amount of interspersed clicky clacks today. Alright, let's do it. Let's do the thing. Krista Walsh, thank you for the raid. Welcome in. I almost said thank you for the stream. How's it going? How was your stream today? ate those breakfast sausage and biscuits for my breakfast and had for lunch, since we had some soft tacos left over. I made myself a pepper jack wrap for lunch instead of grilled cheese sandwich. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Man, I miss being able to eat cheese. Going well. Editing is happening. Catching up on deadlines. I hope the edits are going smoothly. Editing is always the most challenging part of the process for me. I too am catching up on deadlines this week. If I'm gonna write, I should close Discord. I keep getting distracted. Fair enough, Mai. Fair enough. Hey, Faded Stardust. I hope your appointment went well. Made myself a sandwich and I'm vibing to the clicky clacks. Hell yeah. Appointment went amazing. Can't believe how close the surgery is getting. It's weird to be so excited to be getting parts of my body removed, but that's where I am. Listen, this is something that's gonna make you feel better in your body and about your body, and that's the most important thing. Is my camera blurry? Hang on. Is my camera blurry? Let me know if I'm blurry. But I hope that everything goes well, and I hope it gets here quickly, because you deserve to feel good. Why do I feel like I'm blurry? Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my eyes. Faded Stardust, I love and appreciate you. No, I do feel like that focused the camera. I did a heart and it focused the camera. Cool. Hopefully I wasn't blurry to begin with, but I think I'm definitely not blurry now. If it's word for word, you probably don't want to repeat the whole thing. People will notice if you repeat an entire conversation word for word. It's okay to repeat part of the conversation, but you probably want to summarize some of it and then, like Faded Stardust said, move on to new information. If you repeat the entire conversation word for word, people might get bored or annoyed. In a case like that, where you have two characters having a conversation and you're not sure which perspective you want to show it from, which one has the stronger reaction? Which one has the stronger internal reaction to the conversation? Show it from that character's perspective. Or, if one of them has something to conceal or hide, don't show it from that character's perspective. I've spotted so many typos in this already. Writer Lee, welcome in! Thank you for the raid! How's it going? How was your stream? I'm doing pretty good. Had a whirlwind of a break, which ended up being a little bit extended, but we're back now. We're trying to get back into the usual swing. Poot is here. Poot, how's it going? Did you come in with the raid or did you just get here, Poot? Did Tilda Coda, hopefully I said your name right. Welcome in. Bamsors, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Poot, how's it going? Stream was productive, lots of work done, and I got to unbox the delivery of my poetry books. Were these poetry books that you wrote, Writer Lee? Like, of your poetry? Because that sounds amazing. I mean, it's amazing either way, but that sounds amazing. Been lurking? Well, I did a couple things. Poot, we're happy to have you. We're always happy to have you. I hope you've been well. I hope you had a good break. I don't think I've seen you since before the break, so I hope you're doing well. My poetry book that's being released next month as my debut. And I'm freaking out. I hope I hope that you're freaking out in all the best ways, because that sounds awesome. Congratulations on the release. Please let us know when it's out and where it can be found. That's super exciting. And holding a book that you've written in physical form for the first time is always the best feeling. Let me see here. Oops. Rai, hello. How's it going? Amazon Kobo, Barnes & Noble Bookshop 2. Just need to get my paperbacks on pre-order and ready to, but that's taking forever. I feel you. You'll get there, though. You'll get there sooner than you believe possible. You will be at the point where it's happening. You're sick again! Rai, no. You've been sick for like 3 months. Are you resting? Key would like everyone to get snacks. Snacks for everybody. Get your snacks. And also, Key, how's it going? I've had a good doctor's visit. It basically boiled down to, you're doing good, keep it up. Well, that's good news. That's what you want to hear. Have the heartbreaking task of weaning my dog away from sleeping on my bed. Searching doesn't want him sleeping with me while I'm recovering. That's fair that they don't want that, but the poor doggo won't understand. I'm sure it'll be okay, though. I'm sure it'll be okay. Once I'm healed, he's gonna get spoiled as usual, but I can't exactly explain why I'm not letting him on the bed. Yeah, that's the hard part, is that dogs do have the intelligence of a 4-year-old, but that's not something you can really explain to them, unfortunately. As you've probably noticed, I've been working through the break. Gasp, shock. So let me pause the timer here quickly because I am going to pop AFK to use the restroom. But I also want to make sure that I'm caught up on chat. The timer is mostly for you guys today. I'm doing something. I'm doing things a little bit differently. I don't usually use a sprint timer when I work on these particular edits. But that's the format. Writers Troop, hello! How's it going? We're seeing all the peeps today. I'm so excited. Alright, I gotta scroll. I believe I read all that. The initial conversation they have on tactics fighting the dragons, though on this side of the conversation, Tyrannus scolds Garrick for slipping and using his real name. It's a pretty short conversation. I really hate this scene, but I gotta push through so I can fix it in the redraft when my creative spoons aren't blinking red. I mean, honestly, Mai, you could skip it for now and come back to it later. You don't have to do things in order, technically, if you're struggling with it. This particular story is D&D adjacent and comes with character sheets on D&D Beyond. Polymorph is a concentration spell, so you could make the break easier with a failed concentration check. That is true. Polymorph is a concentration spell. In 2014, if polymorph is concentrated for an hour, it becomes permanent. I think that's not the regular polymorph spell. I think that's the, like, true polymorph spell. At least in 5th edition. We're playing how many bags that don't have cat pee on them, and is it enough to fit all the stuff that has to be removed from the office? Oh no! I'm sorry that the cats seem to have found your bag sardonisms. I hope you have as many as you need. I hope you're able to find as many as you need. February 26th is the date, and it's on pre-order right now for ebook almost everywhere. Writer Lee, that's so exciting! I'm so happy for you. And doing a paperback and ebook release at the same time is tough. I used to always do them separately. I always did my ebooks first and my paperbacks later. Organizing them both to happen at the same time is very tricky. But you're killing it. You're killing it. This battle is kind of anticlimactic for it being 2 dragons versus 3 adventurers as rolled, so I need to add drama. Fair. Only my 2nd sinus infection, though, and apparently an ear infection and pink eye. No, Rai, that's all the sinus things. You basically can't touch your face. Chips and dip. Hell yeah. I moved his blankets onto the floor next to the bed, and he's sitting on there right now going, "Why did you put me down here? Aw, poor boy." The time thievery. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Gonna raid in about 25 minutes. Writers Troop, excited to see you then. Hope you're very productive. In the meantime, enjoy your lurk. Already skipped it, but I need to write it out to roll into the final section. Fair. I realized I meant to say true polymorph about 2 lines after I typed it. I did after I said that. I saw where you said it was the wrong spell name. True polymorph is quite a bit different than regular polymorph. That is true. I'm gonna pop AFK quick, guys, and use the restroom and reheat my coffee and remind you guys to do the same. I mean, not exactly the same, but if you need to get up, stretch, move around, grab yourself something to eat and or drink, please remember to do that, because you gotta take care of yourself, right? Work is important, creativity is important, focus is important, but so is your body. And if you ignore your body, like I have for many years, in favor of focus, someday you're gonna bend over and your back is gonna go and you're gonna feel sad, because then it's with you forever. So don't do that to yourself. Get up, stretch, move around, drink that water, eat that chips and dip that you're eyeing up. You know, wander the halls of your house in order to just get some cardio activity in. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. Hello! Grab snacks and a Mountain Dew to carry me until lunchtime. I wonder if I went too far? What? By getting chips and dip? Oh god, I thought the whole game had frozen animations, but it's just... I guess your character doesn't move around as much when you play games. Let's see. Let's play with the whale because it was just adorable beyond comparison, in all honesty. I have to leave the back part of the house, which is my part of the house, and she may be out of her part of the house. But... oh, if I wander too far. I thought you said I may have gone too far, and I was like, what? I see what you're saying. You don't want to leave your part of the house because you don't want to run into her. I see. I was very confused. I was like, how is getting Gyps and Dip going too far? That seems unreasonable for a roommate. I think this scene will be vastly improved when I write Garrick's side story after I finish this draft, so some plotting for the two-story pass happened at the end of this book. I will say, battle scenes are tough because oftentimes you do want to show the same events happening from multiple different angles, or having like battle scenes often overlap where multiple things are happening at one time and you see bits and pieces of it from different perspectives. So I will say one of the things that's hard to get the hang of but important for battle sequences is to learn how much to show from each perspective. If you have two people participating in the same battle and you know you're going to show that battle from both of those perspectives, don't show the entire battle from both perspectives. Show bits and pieces of the battle from each perspective, if that makes sense. So the easiest way to do this is to show the first half of the battle from one person's perspective and the second half of the battle from the other person's perspective. So you basically go up to a climactic moment in the battle, cut, hard cut, next character, continue the battle sequence from their perspective. That's the easiest way to do it. It's not always the best way to do it. It's not always the way that you want to do it, but it's the easiest way to do it. Another way to do it is to show as much of the battle as you want to show from the first character's perspective, and choose to have them focus on the things that they are aware of. And then when you switch the character's perspective, you can go back over some of that time. You don't necessarily want to go back over all of it, but you can go back over some of that time, showing it from the other character's perspective, and have them see different things. So each character sees different things. They're covering the same time period, but they see different things during that time period. So you basically have the choice of showing half of the scene from one perspective, switching, showing half of the scene from the other, and having it encompass the whole thing chronologically, or part of the scene from one perspective, different parts of the scene from the other perspective, overlapping timeline, but not showing exactly the same things, just having it line up enough that people can tell what's happening where, so the repetition is minimal, but the information is new. I hope that makes sense. It's a difficult thing to describe, but this is what makes battle sequences tricky, is knowing where to put the cuts, knowing how much to cover in each scene, and from whose perspective. So something to think about if you have something where you have two characters and you have overlap of information or time and you want to share both but not have it be repetitive. It's tricky. I feel like I wrote maybe 20 books before I got the hang of it. The gift story I have gotten written had spice, and someone who baited it for me said that people who can do either fight scenes or spice scenes well can usually do the other pretty well too, because they both involve keeping track of where the limbs are. That's hilarious. I love that. I'm gonna unlock the timer and allow it to move forward. I'll try to do a bit better at keeping up with chat. But hopefully anything I said in there was remotely helpful. This is why I've always hated fight scenes. They're very tricky, but you can get there, I believe. I gotta start my other timer again as well. Sounds like about what I'm doing. The battle is happening over 2 chapters. The first one is one side of the tower dealing with the black dragon, and the second is the other two dealing with the green dragon. Yeah, Yeah, it does sound like you're doing it right. Just having issues with the character interactions. I just you had asked about repetition and showing stuff from different perspectives. So in situations like that, I'm just like, hey, here's how I do it. Hopefully, there's something useful in there somewhere. And I know if I feel like I'm doing the same thing other people are doing, that usually makes me feel like I'm doing it right. Not that there's a wrong way to do it, but it helps to know other people's thought processes are the same. Volume 7 of The Husky and His White Cat is basically a very long fight sequence slash dungeon crawl. And I was super impressed with the author keeping the tension of the fight for that long, especially considering it was originally a serialized web novel. Dang! I struggle with long fight sequences, to be sure. But when you write epic fantasy, they're like a requirement of the genre. Okay, this is where I think I diverged. I got 5 scenes in before I diverged from the original plan. Writer's Troop, welcome in. Thank you for the raid. How's it going? How was your stream today? I hope it was very productive. Stream went really well. Did a bit of a long one. Got a lot of small things done that needed done. How are things here? Things are doing pretty darn good. We gotta hydrate. Cheers. I am working my way through the outline of the final book in my epic fantasy Everyone's Child series. And I am updating the outline so that it matches what I actually wrote, because I changed quite a few things, and then making notes for the edits, because I kind of wrote this book in bits and pieces, so I need to make sure it reads coherently when I do the edits. Gonna have to raid and run. No worries, Writer's Troop. We appreciate you. Do whatever you need to get done. Take care of whatever you need to take care of, especially if it was a long stream. I'm sure you've got tons of self-care that needs attention to. Happy to see you, even if it's only briefly, and hopefully we'll get to catch up soon. Sometimes... Sometimes you spot something that you wrote and you're like, that's the stupidest possible way that I could have worded it because it makes no sense. And clearly contains awareness of future events. And this is why we edit. If you're ever thinking, I wonder if Megan ever reads something she writes and thinks this is the dumbest thing ever. Yes. I just read the dumbest sentence ever. Cats must be psychic. How else can they pick the exact moment I start trying to be productive to demand attention? I believe that is accurate. They are psychic. That's me several times when I go back to look at something. Every once in a while, I love it. Yeah, I mean, I find good stuff too, but this was just... Now, see, there's a good sentence. Oof. Parents aren't supposed to tell you how to live your life. They really aren't. I feel that one. They set me free and let me decide who I wanted to be, and they never tried to make me anything else. I think that's how it's supposed to be. I think so too. Or they're supposed to tell us we're supposed to do anything anyway. I mean, I think in a broad sense, parents are supposed to prepare you for how the world works and share their experience and, you know, tell you important things. But I don't think your parent should ever tell you you have to be this profession, or you have to be with this person, or you have to, like, those are things for you to figure out on your own. When I come back to this chapter likely in several months, I'm gonna find so much dumb stuff. That do be how it is sometimes. Scotty, you found me! Welcome in! This is where the magic, air quotes, happens. This is what it looks like when I work on all those things you've been reading. How's it going? Just woke up. Welcome to the day. I'm doing pretty good. Going through a manuscript and making notes for all the changes that need to be managed over the next few days. Magic. This is where the magic happens. This is what it sounds like when a dove cries. This is what it sounds like when authors cry. Exactly. I feel like, to some extent, I ruin the magic of writing because you guys get to see me sitting here staring intently and then muttering to myself and chewing on my fingernails and being like, I don't know what I was thinking when I tried to write this sentence. Pie is here! Also, everyone, hit that save button. I'm actually working in a program that auto-saves today. But everybody hit that save button. And a hydrate. You're still at work, Pi? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ooh, I actually read 3 scenes that time by accident. Okay, cool. Right. Whoops. What program do you use for writing? I use an ass-old version of Word. I use Word 2007, Office 2007, actually. For my outline, I use OneNote, specifically the 2007 version, because I think it looks nicer than the newer versions. So that is what I'm working with today, is OneNote. And then I do all of my writing and editing within Word, and I do all of my formatting in there as well. tea time! My, let us know what type of tea you come back with. Peter, hello! How's it going, my dear? I hope you're having a better day today. I will actually take my break here. How am I doing? I am doing pretty good. Working my way through this manuscript, just looking at how it's going, what I did, what I need to change. I've definitely found at least 3 info dumps that need to be broken up or deleted. So that's fun. When you start leaving a bunch of notes where you're like, hey, you rambled a lot at the opening of this scene. You may need to fix that. I'm not the whole problem, but I am a problem. What? It was a bit of a better day today, although I did a snooze and had a dream about my ex, which simultaneously broke my heart and woke me up with anger. I'm sorry, Peter. Brains can be jerks sometimes. Megan, things are going well today, though. I would say overall, we seem to be trucking along, getting things done. I'm not paying as much attention to the timer today as I usually do, because I can chat a little bit more in between what I'm doing than usual when I'm writing. But I will pause the timer and get up and move around. Do a bit of a bigger stretch, because we had a stretch come in from Pi. And I will also refresh my coffee and hit the washroom and remind you guys to do the same. Get up, stretch, move around, grab something to eat and or drink if you are in need of anything. We'll be moving into our final 30-minute sprint here shortly. And after that, we will wrap up stream for today and for the week. I hate that she still has this effect on me. I mean, the truth is, I think sometimes emotions get deep enough inside you that they never fully go away. If you reach deep enough, something can drag them back out into the open, and that's just kind of how brains and hearts and all that kind of stuff works. But the most important thing is, Peter, she doesn't have any power that you don't give her. You can deny her that power by refusing to engage with her and by refusing to allow those emotions to have any power over you. It's easy to say, it's hard to do, but that is a power that you have. Your brain will make you dream of things you tend to put off dealing with when you're awake. Very true. Very true. Brains are bitches, you guys. I will be right back. And you guys should as well. I have returned. I'm back. Thank you, Scotty. Did I ask what you're up to today? Did you answer? Did I miss it? I am Scatterbrained. Oh yeah, you said just woke up. I did ask. While you were gone, I ate sweeties. I hope they made you feel better, Peter. I hope they made you feel better. Let's move around. Let's go to the bay window. Let's go to the beach. Oh my god, this whale is just so fucking cute. Why? Why are you so fucking cute, my guy? So let's see. We have the night. I actually really like evening on this map because it does the little sparklies. We're getting 3 storms now between this Saturday and February 2nd. 57 inches of snow. Good God. Part of me wants to be like, hey, hopefully they're wrong and it'll be less, but they could also be wrong and it could be more. We'll probably spend the next 10 hours looking for a game to play and then not playing. Oh my God, when you made that comment on Ghost Pepper's stream where you were like, I spent the last 2 hours looking for a game and concluded I don't have one. I do this so many times where I will like go through my like my Steam library and just look for a game to play and just go through all my games and go through all my games and then just not pick one. And I was like, yes, I too play this game all the time. Let's hang out with the Trash Nuki. He's a sweetie pie. He's a sweetie McSweet face. Nordhold and Runeborn, are those games? Are those games or magical lands that you go to where you don't have to look at your Steam library? Right, it's like, this is why I just planar teleport to other planes of existence. Are those games that, like, never end? When a man says it's 57 inches, you know it's going to be 23 and a half. Peter. The sweeties are in the shape of a dinosaur, so they bring joy and whimsy. Heck yeah. Oh, Mai wants to go to the kitchen table typing. We will do that. We will switch to the kitchen table. Like how there's 1,000,000,001 channels and 100,000,000,001 streaming services and there's nothing on TV? Yes. Roguelike games. Nice. I like how you guys waited until I changed everything to do the redeems. Okay. Typing at the kitchen table. No, it's fine. I am sassing ya, but it is fine. That is what the redeems are there for. And I almost, I almost just put Shadow out for Rai anyway. I almost did in the first place. There you go, you guys. We got Typing at the Kitchen, and we got Shadow the Hedgehog. It's all good. No, you guys, it's all good. It's all good. I was so close to just going in and putting the Shadow in anyway, because I was like, oh, I know Rai likes the Shadow and he's not feeling well. He needs a comfort spirit. What brings you joy and whimsy today? Asks Peter. Honestly, hanging out with you guys brings me joy and whimsy on this lovely day. It is so gray here, and it won't rain, and it won't snow. It's just gray. So having a splash of color in my life with you guys is what's bringing me the joy today. For sure. First big snowstorm in like a decade. I'm excited, actually. Well, there you go. That's a good way to look at it. Books, and to be honest, I have no idea what whimsy is. Whimsy is just like, you know, that sense of childish joy that you felt when you were young and watching Saturday morning cartoons. I was like, how do I define the word whimsy without using whimsy as the definition? No, it wasn't sarcastic. Today's Star Wars moment, I rewatched the Obi-Wan series over the last few days. It is excellent, but I maintain that Obi-Wan and Vader fighting was a silly, badly written, and solved nothing. I would agree with that. Whimsy is like, fancy, like fanciful. Not like fancy as in like, attire, but like fancy as in like fantastical, if that makes sense. Whimsy is when you're feeling whimsical. But if you don't know what one of those things are, you might not know what the other one is. Do you guys know it's difficult to roll 22 d6s one-handed? Yeah, I would imagine. Key, how's it going? I know you've been a lorkin, but I hope it's going well. The old razzmatazz. To lean out of frame and blow my nose again. My nose is unhappy today. Was out shopping for storm prep, so I take it you are going to get hit by the same storms Rai keeps mentioning. All I did as a kid was read. Had novels in my hand since I was 5, so that sense of childlike wonder you felt when you read your first fantasy novel. That's whimsy. Two and a half out of 3 bookshelves cleared. Then I need to deal with the stuff piled on the floor at the end. Nah, I don't think you need less stuff. I think you just need more shelves, and it sounds like there's more shelves incoming. 8 to 12 inches, but if there's ice, we need salt. Fair. Peter, you can make anything seem like a euphemism if you use the browse emote. Guys, thanks for helping my do math. I too outsource my D&D math as often as possible. Pie, enjoy your lurk. I hope you're home from work. That rhymes. I play D&D with at least 2, sometimes 3 math teachers. They can help me with my math. I'm here to be a human beehole. I perform annoyance services in times of normality. Peter, you're a sweetheart and we appreciate here. We appreciate you. I'm here to be the human calculator. I perform that service for my boyfriend too. I always appreciate when people help me with math because I can do it but not quickly. So it's either people help me or we sit there for 5 minutes while I add in my head. Why is the emote so cute? Because Mumbles drew it. Because Mumbles drew it. I lost my strike through button. There we go. I forgot that I reinstalled everything and I have to add my custom buttons back in. Pi, have you reached home at last? Bought a new game. Which game did you get, Rai? Oh yeah, this was the scene where I wondered if this had gotten really dark. You know, sometimes when a skeleton claws its way free of a living body, you think, I don't know, maybe that got really dark. I don't know, you tell me, is that too dark? Ooh, Call to the Laminates DLC Woolhaven. I saw that, I saw the DLC had released when I opened my Steam this morning. I haven't played Cult of the Lamb in so long. Excited Bones! Hey, kids are asleep. How's it going? Repotted a plant today, hoping it survives. Fingers and toes crossed. I have had I've had mixed success with repotting plants. They always have shock from doing it, so hopefully it'll recover from that and start to do better. What should Rai name his cult? The timer has ended. Of course, Peter said Culty McCult face. Of course. Oops. I'm not quite as far as I would like to be in this outline, but I am about where I expected to be. And I think I'm just past the point where I stopped the first time. So I'm getting close to the halfway point, and I think I'm past my first writing session, so I'm into the territory where I remember a little bit better what I wrote, because I'm now at the end of like I'm now into what I wrote in December versus what I wrote like back in October. So that's good, because it's much easier to jog my memory of what I'm actually working with now that I've gotten past that first session. And so I'm kind of gotten to the point where I'm gearing up for the final climactic confrontation, and all the characters are sort of getting that one last long dark tea time of the soul where they reflect upon everything that's happened to them, and some learn valuable lessons, and some just want revenge, and some have their skeletons claw their way out of their body, as you do. So that's good. I did make some tweaks and have things happen earlier than I anticipated they would happen in the outline, but so far I haven't found anything that needs a major change. Mostly just some info dumps that need broken up, and some battles that need to be tweaked so that they feel like sufficiently epic, which is pretty typical for me in edits. There's kind of 3 things that I regularly look for whenever I do an edit on any project. The first one is physical descriptions, because I have a bad habit of forgetting to write physical descriptions, especially of my characters. So I always try to do a check and make sure that people actually know what things and people look like. The second one is info dumps, because I do sometimes have a bad habit of just meandering through the opening paragraphs of a scene until I find the scene and start doing something. And sometimes there's good information in there, but sometimes it goes on for like 2 pages, and that's bad. So finding my info dumps and breaking them up. And the third thing is battle scenes. Just going over my battle scenes, making sure they feel like they're logical, making sure it feels like they're actually like having some weight and some heft, and feeling sufficiently epic. So those are my 3 big ones. And then of course I try to go through and mark any place where I think that I have left a plot hole, or somehow not accounted for something. I have a couple of things in here where I'm like, I feel like this may have ended up being a dangling plot thread and not fully been dealt with. So there are a couple little things like that where I'm just kind of like, I need to go back and make sure that everything is pulled through and properly woven in, because this is it. I'm not coming back to this setting. This is the final book in this series. This is wrapping everything up for these people in this place, so I gotta make sure it's all in there. I wrote 549 words, but I wrote these words about a thing we discussed yesterday, a wee small writing group idea. I have shared with our best friend Ocelot to get their feedback, and if we could, and if we should, and if we would. Further details to be determined. Well, Peter, I hope that you do. I hope that you do, because it sounds like the other place where you've been trying to go to get that feedback has not been good for you, and I would hate for that to continue happening. No, this is 100% the final. Listen, Damarin's not in this series, so it's not going to be 3 million books long, let's be honest. I try to keep a running list of stuff that must be resolved as I plan and write so I don't drop any balls. Same! But I do find sometimes, like, I set up for something and then I just never sync it. So I definitely have at least one plot in this book where I feel like I did all the setup and then I somehow just missed getting that, like, final knot in there. I might be wrong. I might just not remember doing it, but I do feel like I missed it. So I've already put a note in there where I'm like, make sure this actually gets resolved at some point. But for now, I think it is lunchtime, so let's look at who we might be able to raid. Let's look. Oh, important. Tax return document. So excited. So excited about taxes. Oh my god, Joe is streaming. Joe is already streaming. But I see that the person we did not raid yesterday is streaming again today. So we're going to go raid Digital Cow. So we did not raid her yesterday. We're going to raid her today. I was hoping this would be the case. I was hoping yesterday when we raided Flower that we would be able to raid Cow today, and we can! So this is it for me for this week on my channel. I will not be streaming again until next week, but good news, I should be streaming next week as usual. So I stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings, 10:30 a.m. PST until roughly around this time when I decide that I need to stop and eat food. So you'll be able to find me. We will be doing probably a lot of edits. I think I'm going to be editing Celestial Serenade and Everyone's Child next week, so we're probably going to be doing a lot of edits, plus hopefully another round of clicky clacks on the My Little Domerin story. So remember, if you want to read what has been published of My Little Domerin so far, you can head over to megancutler.net. You can read the first 4 entire episodes. Each episode is 2 acts, so that's 8 chapters. Of Domerin as a pony, because that's what we decided to do as a community. And if you're looking for more of me before next week, you will be able to find me Saturday night on It's Swift's channel at 7:30 p.m. PST. We will have our Cozy Chaos stream. I'll probably be playing more Tavern Talk. I might do a little bit more crafting at the beginning of that stream. We'll see. You stay warm as well. Kids are asleep. And anybody who is in winter storm territory, please keep warm and safe. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll be sneaking in for Tuesday's stream, but vacation starts on Wednesday. Have a fabulous vacation. We'll see you when we see you. You gotta take care of yourself. You gotta live that life. Enjoy that camping. Yeah, so let me get the raid started. Man, lots of people with storms happening. My goodness. Guys, stay warm, stay dry, stay safe. Remember to get up, move around, eat, sleep, drink. Take care of this meat sack that you're driving through the world, because it doesn't come with a maintenance manual, but it requires a fuck ton of maintenance, let's be honest. I appreciate you guys. I don't feel like I say it enough, even though I try to say it every stream. I appreciate you guys coming out here, sharing my work time with me. I know it's been particularly scuffed lately with all the computer troubles and all of the being sick and all of the long breaks, but you guys have been here. You've been so supportive, and it means the world to me. I genuinely hope we are back in a position of normal, where we're going to have streams regularly every week again, and we're going to be moving through the goals. But I just appreciate the hell out of the fact that you guys have been so patient with me. Please take care of yourself, and I wish you all of the productivity and the creativity until we see each other again. You guys are amazing. Sardonisms, take care. It might rain this weekend. Good luck, Mai. I hope you get some rain. Vacation extended. There were no issues. Key. Take care. Peter, I love you too. Bye-bye for now.